Forget everything you know about licensed beat-em-ups. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game for the Super Nintendo isn't just another cash grab tie-in, it's one of the most underrated brawlers in the 16-bit era, and I'm about to show you exactly why. Released in 1994 by Bandai, at the absolute peak of the Power Rangers mania, this game had everything working against it. Licensed games were notorious for being rushed garbage. The show was dismissed as a kid's fad, and beat-em-ups were already flooding the market, yet somehow this little cartridge managed to deliver something special that still holds up 3 decades later. But here's the thing that always fascinated me. While every other studio was churning out cheap Final Fight clones, Bandai took a completely different approach. They didn't just slap the Power Rangers license onto a generic brawler template. Instead, they built something that actually understood what made the show work. The combination of hand-to-hand combat and giant robot battles. The question is, how did a licensed game of all things manage to nail this formula when so many others failed? Let's rewind to 1994. The gaming landscape for beat-em-ups was dominated by Capcom's arcade ports and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games. Everyone was trying to recreate that Streets of Rage magic, and most were falling flat. The formula was getting stale. Walk right, punch things, fight the boss, then repeat. Power Rangers had a unique challenge though. The show wasn't about martial arts. It was about 2 distinct types of action. You had the teenagers fighting as Rangers, and then you had the massive Megazord battles. Most developers would have picked one or the other, maybe thrown in the Megazord as a bonus stage. Bandai said, why not both, and actually committed to it. Critics at the time were mixed, mostly because they couldn't get past their bias against licensed games. But players who actually spent time with it discovered something special. This wasn't just competent, it was genuinely fun, with enough depth to reward repeated playthroughs. What really makes this game underappreciated is its timing. It was released in the shadow of Donkey Kong Country's revolutionary graphics and got lost in the holiday rush. By the time word of mouth could build, the 32-bit generation was already on the horizon and everyone was looking forward, not back. But here's the problem if you're discovering this game today. It doesn't hold your hand. There's no tutorial. The difficulty spikes are real, and some sections, especially that museum level, can feel genuinely unfair if you don't know the strategies. The boss patterns require memorization. The platforming demands precision, and if you pick the wrong ranger for your playstyle, you're gonna have a rough time. Plus, the hidden mechanics in the game. Did you know you can throw putties at each other for instant kills? That certain environmental hazards can be turned against enemies? That positioning matters more than button mashing? None of this is obvious, and that's where most players hit a wall and give up. That's exactly why we're here. This complete Super Nintendo walkthrough of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is going to show you everything. Every level strategy, every boss pattern, every hidden health pickup, and all of the character-specific techniques that make this game not just beatable, but actually fun. We'll break down which Rangers work best for which situations, how to handle those notorious difficulty spikes, and the optimal strategies for both the brawler sections and the Zord battles. This guide has you covered. Alright, you're starting in the city streets of Angel Grove, and this opening area is basically the game's tutorial, except it doesn't tell you that. As you walk right, you'll spot a green tarp overhead. Here comes your first putty. These gray ones die in a single hit, so just walk up, press Y, easy. 2 more drop in immediately. Notice how they attack one at a time? The game's teaching you rhythm here. Hit, wait for the next one, hit again. This is important because button mashing will get you taken out later. Now keep moving right until you see the blue tarp with a window shop behind it. Another putty appears, then 2 more join in. Now here's your first real lesson. See that purple putty that just jumped out of the window? Different color means tougher enemy. These guys take 3 or 4 hits. Get close, land your punches, and when they're stunned, press B to throw them. That throw damage is significant. This is huge. Learning to position enemies so you can damage multiple targets is the key to surviving. The go sign appears, signaling you to continue right. You'll see putties waiting on building ledges above you. They drop down one by one as you pass underneath. This is actually in your favor. They're giving you one-on-one fights instead of mobbing you. Take advantage and pick them off individually. Further along, more putties drop from above. 2 weak ones, Then 2 purple tough guys. Always eliminate the weak ones first. They do the same damage but get taken out faster, so clear them out, then focus on the stronger enemies without distractions. Eventually, you'll reach the first boss encounter. The screen stops, dramatic music kicks in, and you'll automatically morph into your ranger form. The boss vanishes, leaving his putty goons to deal with you. It's time to use that special attack. Press X and watch your ranger unleash their weapons full power. This clears the screen fast. Now you're halfway through Area 1. On to Stage 2, Street Combat to the Warehouse. Did you know the SNES version dropped in September of 1994, right at the peak of Power Rangers Mania? Bandai knew exactly what they were doing with that timing. Okay, this one's for the Genesis players. What genre was the Genesis version of Power Rangers? Was it a beat 'em up, like on the SNES? Or was it something completely different? Drop your answer below. The second half ramps up the challenge. You're back to moving right and fighting putties, but now you've got environmental hazards. See those mechanical birds flying overhead? When they drop something, jump. They are bombs and they hurt. A truck will screech to a stop ahead, and 3 purple putties jump out the back. This is a perfect opportunity to practice crowd control. Jump over them so they're all on the one side of you, then attack. If they're grouped tight, your attacks will connect with all 3. Beautiful. Keep your eyes open for that white trash can looking object. Walk up to it and press Y. That's a health kit, and you're going to need it. Grab it before heading to the warehouse. Let's talk about who actually made these games, because 5 different versions meant 5 different development teams working simultaneously. Natsume handled the Super Nintendo version. Yeah, the same Natsume behind Harvest Moon. The composers were Iku Mitsutani and Kinuyo Yamashita. In case you didn't know, Yamashita is legendary. She composed the original Castlevania. Imagine going from Dracula's castle to the command center. The Genesis version came from Nova. The Game Gear version had a full team: Hiroyuki Kikawa, Tetsuya Takei, and Hiroko Kato on the design, with Kisuke Nishino handling the music. And that Game Boy version, Tom Create and Pixel tag teamed it. These weren't just nameless corporations churning out licensed shovelware. These were teams of developers, composers, and designers trying to capture the magic of a phenomenon while working within the brutal technical limitations of 1994 hardware. That's craft, that's passion. Fun fact: this game actually had 5 completely different versions across different platforms: SNES, Genesis, Game Boy, Game Gear, and even Sega CD. Each one was developed by a different studio and played completely different. Pop quiz time. What overall score did Nintendo Magazine System give the SNES version? And did they think it was too easy or mighty tough? This one's a 2-part question. See if you can get both right. Now, you're at the first real boss fight. Boss battle Bones. The skeleton boss is tricky because he has multiple phases. Start by immediately using your special attack. Press X to chunk his health away right after. After that, it becomes a dance. You'll want to do your hidden dodge. Attack twice, jump back when he counters. After enough damage, he loses his arms. Then get him in a corner. Press B and up simultaneously to break him apart repeatedly. The final phase is just his head. Use your jumping attacks only. Dodge the fireballs he spits by staying mobile. And use the special attack at the start of the stage, which is crucial for your damage. Here's something wild. The Green Ranger, you know, the most popular Ranger, was only playable in the Genesis and Game Gear versions. SNES players got completely shafted on that front. Fun fact: the music for the SNES version was composed by Kinuyo Yamashita, who also worked on the original Castlevania soundtrack. That's some serious pedigree right there. Alright, now on to Area 2, the Industrial Zone. Stage 1, Woods to Factory. You're starting in the woods now, and the atmosphere is completely different. The game's showing off its variety here. Walk right and putties will emerge from the trees. Standard stuff so far. But now watch this. See those fireball shooting devices? Position yourself between two of them. When putties approach, they'll get hit by the crossfire. You're using the environment as a weapon. This is a smart play. Eventually you transition from woods to this concrete industrial area. Here comes putties with shields. This is new. You can't hurt them from the front. You need to flank them. Jump over one, get to their side, and attack both shields simultaneously if possible. After enough hits, the shields shatter and they're vulnerable. Watch for rolling barrels. Press B to jump over them. Timing is everything. The boss will appear, you'll morph, then he vanishes, leaving the goons behind. Use your strategies from Area 1, then head to the warehouse. The Super Nintendo version from Bandai was pure side-scrolling beat-em-up action, think Final Fight, but Morphin time included 7 stages of putty patroller punching goodness. And you know what? The critics at the time had opinions. Electronic Gaming Monthly's 4 reviewers gave it scores between 6 and 7 out of 10. One of them didn't hold back, calling it just another mindless Final Fight type game. Ouch. But here's the thing, that's exactly what we wanted as kids, right? Nintendo Magazine System was a bit kinder with a 77 score, but their review is a perfect time capsule. They called it mighty tough. Remember when games didn't have difficulty settings and you just had to get good? They praised the fluid controls and animation and loved how each ranger had their trademark moves. One reviewer gave Bandai credit for, quote unquote, a genuine attempt at something vaguely special and called it, quote unquote, pretty cool. That's the most 90s review language ever, and I'm here for it. Check this out. EGM Electronic Gaming Monthly's reviewers were pretty harsh, giving it scores between 6 and 7 out of 10. One critic literally called it just another mindless Final Fight type game. Ouch! Here's a question about the reviews. When Electronic Gaming Monthly's 4 reviewers scored the SNES game, what was the range of scores they gave it? Can you guess the lowest and the highest? Stage 2, Warehouse Platforming. Now we're in a full platforming section. This is where the game separates itself from basic brawlers. Take out the fireball device first. It's stationary, so it's an easy target. Then look at these platforms. Jump to the rightmost one, then make your way across. Here's a critical technique. See that platform above you that you can't reach with a normal jump? Jump toward the wall, then press B again when you hit it. Wall jump. Master this, you'll need it throughout the game. At the top, you'll encounter a conveyor belt with putties spawning. Stand between the 2 belts and let the falling objects from above hit the enemies for you. Seriously, just position yourself safely and let the game do the work. Only attack the putties that make it through. Did you know the Sega versions were published by Sega themselves, but the actual cartridge production was handled by Banpresto, which was actually a pseudoism for Bandai? Corporate shell games in the 90s were something else. Navigate down using the platforms. Don't rush this. One wrong jump means damage. At the bottom, destroy these structures blocking your path. Keep hitting them until they explode. One contains a health kit. Always check every destructible object. Then you're at the boss arena. Let's test your composer knowledge. One of the people who scored the SNES version's music also worked on the soundtrack for which legendary horror NES game? Hint, it involves whips and vampires. The Game Gear version is fascinating because it was like the Genesis versions, brighter, better simply. 3 basic attacks, including one where you pressed both action buttons at once, very Street Fighter, plus a throw and 3 special moves per character. This version had more levels and more enemies than the Genesis game, but here's what blew our minds. It had a 2-player link cable mode. Remember link cables? You and your friend both needed Game Gears, they both needed the game, and you needed this special cable. It was expensive, it was inconvenient, and it was awesome when you could actually make it happen. GamePro called it a satisfying blend of fighting and adventure, perfect for beginning players. They said the story mode was simplistic and easy, but enjoyable. Electronic Gaming Monthly gave it a 6.2 out of 10, praising the move variety and the ability to play as the Megazord. Back then, a 6.2 wasn't seen as harsh. It meant this is a solid licensed game, which was rare praise in an era of terrible movie tie-ins. Here's something interesting. While some reviewers thought it was too easy and repetitive, Nintendo Magazine System actually described the difficulty as mighty tough and gave it a 77 overall. I guess it depends on your skill level. Fun fact, the Genesis version wasn't a beat 'em up at all. It was a one-on-one fighting game like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, completely different genre from the SNES version. This one's cool. When you played the Game Boy version on the Super Game Boy adapter for the SNES, each ranger got their own unique color palette. That's some nice attention to detail. Boss battle, Gotan, the Viking boss. This Viking looking boss has a teleportation gimmick. He'll vanish after every attack or whenever you hit him. Learn his 3 attack patterns. Close range, rake attacks when you're near him. Energy wave that travels left and right. You'll want to jump to dodge. Powerball projectile. Jump or move away. He teleports after each move. Predict where he'll appear. On the second phase, multiple after images. Then he strikes from one position. Use your special attack during the second phase for massive damage. Pattern recognition is key, so stay patient. Did you know that the Game Boy version drained your health every time you used the Ranger's unique weapon? Risk-reward mechanics in a licensed kids game. That's actually pretty smart design. Here's a tricky one for the Power Rangers superfans. Which iconic Ranger was weirdly only playable in the Genesis and Game Gear versions but got completely left out of the Super Nintendo release? Let me know in the comments. Here's a fun detail. In the Genesis version's scenario mode, you'd fight a regular sized monster as a ranger, then immediately battle a giant version of it. 2 fights in 1. They really made you earn those victories. Alright, now on to stage 3, the sewers. Welcome to the sewers, and yes, every beat 'em up has a sewer level, but this one's actually well designed. You're on platforms with water below. Jump to the ledge ahead and get ready For weak putties, drop in waves of 2, single punch each, then move on. Drop into the water when you see the opening. Here come more putties. Plus there's a spider enemy that spits fire. This is important. You can throw putties at the spider to damage it. Seriously, use enemies as projectiles against other enemies. Also watch for those crystal formations floating by. They damage you, so punch them out of the air. The sewer has lots of low ceilings you'll need to crouch under. When you duck walk through, yellow putties with spiked shields will follow. As soon as you emerge, press down and Y for a low attack to take them out. Keep moving through this pattern. Platforms, water sections, destructible crystals, spiders, and blocks to duck under. The game's testing your adaptability here. Alright retro gaming fans, let's start off with this one. How many completely different versions of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were released across various platforms in the mid-90s? Each one played totally differently. Drop your answer below. Okay, here's an interesting technical detail. What special feature did the Game Boy version have when you played it using the Super Game Boy adapter on your SNES? Here's a challenge question for the detail-oriented. How many stages did the SNES have, and how many different gameplay styles did it feature? Okay, let's talk about risk-reward mechanics. In the Game Boy version, what happened to your health bar every time you use the Ranger's unique weapon? Comment if you remember this. Okay, here's one about the development teams. Can you name which company developed the SNES version? Hint, they're known for other quality games on the platform. On to stage 2, the lower sewers and the water section. Halfway through, the boss appears, you morph, he leaves putties. The standard procedure now. Clear them and proceed. The next section gets tricky. You'll see purple smoke barriers that damage you on contact. Wait for them to dissipate before moving through. When you're crawling under ledges, yellow shield putties will follow you. Duck attack them immediately when you emerge. Here's the challenging part. You'll be on a bridge when putties drop from the ceiling. After 2 waves, the bridge collapses and you fall into the water with 2 putties. Game Pro wasn't impressed though. They panned it for one-dimensional gameplay and unbalanced difficulty. But you know what? Sometimes those janky, unbalanced games were the most memorable. We didn't care if it was perfectly tuned. We cared that we could be the Green Ranger. You can only attack when the water level drops. Watch the water cycle, wait for it to lower, then quickly attack before it rises again. Your timing here is everything. At the end, you'll find a destructible wall, break through for a health kit. Here's a detail that may surprise you. While all of the other versions hit in 1994, the Super Nintendo version didn't launch in Japan until November 25th of 1995, over a year later. By then, we'd already moved on to the second season in the US. Now imagine being a Japanese Power Rangers fan, waiting that long while watching Western kids play these games on the internet. Oh wait, we didn't even really have that yet. You just had to wonder and wait. Then there's another wall jump sequence. This time you're going up, press B to jump, B again when you hit the wall. Make your way to the top while avoiding the purple smoke. Fun fact, Electronic Gaming Monthly gave the Game Gear version a 6.2 out of 10, praising the large move list and ability to play as the Megazord. Not amazing, but respectable for a handheld licensed game in 1994. Here's the consensus. Most reviewers agreed that the SNES game was aimed squarely at younger fans of the show rather than hardcore gamers. It was designed for the target demographic, and there's nothing wrong with that. The final room has an aqua green background. You're swimming now. Navigate through the underwater maze, avoiding blade traps. There's a health kit above water. Only grab it if you need it. Otherwise, stay in the water and go down right to the exit. Eventually, you'll reach solid ground and head into the boss chamber. Did you know the Genesis and Game Gear versions let you unlock the Green Ranger and Dragonzord after defeating them in the story mode? That's a solid reward system that actually makes narrative sense. Okay, here's one about the Game Gear version's features. This portable version actually had more of something compared to its console Genesis counterpart. Was it more levels, more enemies, or both? Okay, here's a pop culture reception question. Which gaming magazine absolutely destroyed the Genesis version for quote-unquote one-dimensional gameplay, but then praised the Game Gear version as perfect for beginning players? Fun fact, the Sega CD version was a completely different beast. It was a full motion video QuickTime event game, basically Dragon's Lair with Power Rangers. That must have been interesting. Boss battle, the Eye Guy. This blob boss is all about aggressive close range fighting, so don't try to keep your distance. That's when his projectiles wreck you. You'll want to get in close and attack constantly. Don't give him any space. His laser beam attack, just jump over it. The body slam attack, hit him right after he misses. He throws eye projectiles. Stay close to him to avoid them. If they get near you, you'll want to dodge separately. The final phase, he transforms into a giant single eye. Just keep up the pressure, dodge the laser, and keep attacking. Your aggression wins this fight. Alright, a final boss question. This one's wild. What completely different genre was the Sega CD version compared to all the other platforms? Hint, think Dragon's Lair style. Here's time for some international release trivia. The SNES version dropped in North America in 1994, but how long did Japan have to wait to get their release? Give me the month and the year. Alright, on to Area 4, the museum. Stage 1, Museum Ground Floor. The museum is one of the most visually interesting levels in the entire game. If this Power Rangers walkthrough on the Super Nintendo has taught you anything, it's that the environments are always different between levels. In this one, you're indoors with actual varied backdrops. Walk right and engage 2 easy putties, then 2 tougher ones. Remember your positioning, jump to flank them, and don't get surrounded. See that hole in the ceiling ahead? Putties drop from there in waves. When one's directly ahead and 2 drop behind, immediately jump past the front one so all 3 are on the same side, then attack. This prevents being back hit. Now you've got a laser device that moves back and forth while putties attack. This is chaos management. Throw putties at each other, dodge the laser between throws, then repeat. You'll want to stay mobile. Break down the door ahead by punching it multiple times. As you walk forward, notice those ceiling lights? They fall when you walk under them. So walk under, then immediately backtrack. The light crashes down. The path is safe. This becomes a tactical tool. The next section combines everything: putties, lasers, and falling lights. Here's the strategy. Move toward a ceiling light, walk under it, then jump past the putties. The lights fall on them. Now you can fight the survivors while dodging the laser. Also, destroy that crate for healing food. Repeat this approach for the next similar sections. Lights as weapons, laser avoidance, controlled putty elimination. This is pretty cool. Nintendo Magazine Systems reviewers were split. One praised Bandai for a genuine attempt at something vaguely special, while others called it unoriginal. Even within the same publication, opinions were divided. On to level 2, the museum upper levels. Up the stairs now, fight the putty at the top, then more will come from the left. You're in a choke point, which is actually good. They can only approach from one direction. You'll want to throw them at each other for efficiency. More stairs, more putties. The game keeps testing your fundamentals. At the top, you're forced into a center-cornered fight. Use jump kicks to attack while moving, minimizing your damage taken. Follow the corridor, and you'll trigger the morphing sequence. The boss appears, you transform, he vanishes, then putties attack. Here's something you might not know. The game had 4 different development studios working simultaneously. Natsume for SNES, Nova for Genesis, Sims for Game Gear, and Tom Create Plus Pixel for the Game Boy. That's a massive coordinated effort. Use your special if you're in danger here. Just clear them out. Did you know the SNES version didn't even release in Japan until November of 1995, over a year after the North American launch? Power Rangers took a while to catch on over there. Now comes the elevator sequence. You're riding up while obstacles scroll towards you. Jump over the lasers, dodge the purple energy walls by moving side to side. When the elevator breaks, jump onto the railing above, press up to climb over, then grab the health kit if needed. Wall jump your way up, destroying any turrets in your path. Eventually you'll encounter a putty with a gun above you. Wait for him to stop firing, then jump up and attack. Repeat for the next putty gun. Fun fact, GamePro absolutely destroyed the Genesis version, calling out its one-dimensional gameplay and unbalanced difficulty. Meanwhile, they praised the Game Gear version as perfect for beginning players. Same franchise, totally different experiences. Check this out. The Game Gear version had more levels and enemies than the Genesis version. Despite being on the weaker handheld hardware, Sims really put in the work on that port. You're at the roof now. On to stage 3, the museum rooftop. The rooftop is pure platforming and combat combined. The first fight lets you throw putties completely off the building. It's satisfying and efficient. Just grapple and toss them over the edge. Jump onto the railing and move right. Drop to the next platform and continue. 3 putties attack while items drop from above. Throw putties into the flying items for easy kills. Jump onto the metal platform, but instead of going up, run straight across to the cement ground. There's a special power-up here. Grab it. Continue right until you see a rail overhead. Grab it and shimmy right until you're above a laser gun. Drop down, duck, and attack it. This is a safe way to handle the turrets. Now up the stairs. Putties with knives are ahead. They throw from range, but here's the trick. Duck and attack. Their knives go over your head. Stay crouched and punch them to death safely. Destroy the 2 laser guns after going up the next set of stairs. Grab the health kit, then it's platforming jumping time. Make your way across carefully. Falling means damage and lost progress. Now onto the mini-boss, the flying laser machine. This flying machine mini-boss is all about pattern recognition and patience. You'll want to focus only by hitting it when it's above you. When it's below, take a corner and duck. It shoots 3 lasers in a fan pattern. Learn where the lasers go at different positions. Stay patient. You'll want to wait for openings. Don't get greedy with attacks. Keep your corner defense position ready. After destroying it, jump to the final platforms while destroying lasers. Then it's the Area 4 boss. Remember 1994? If you were a kid back then, you probably rushed home after school for 2 things: watching the Power Rangers on TV and hoping your parents would rent you one of these at Blockbuster. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers games hit every major console that year: Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, and Game Gear. But here's what made them special. Each version was actually a different game. Yeah, can you believe that? Back in the day, publishers didn't just port the same game across platforms. They built unique experiences for each console's strengths. Boss 4, Scorpina. This boss is genuinely tough. She's all about magic attacks with complex patterns. You'll want to use your special attack immediately at the fight start. Study her attack patterns. Memorization is crucial. She has multiple transformation phases. Dodge first, then punish with attacks. Keep moving. Standing still gets you taken out. Special attacks shine in this fight. You'll want to be patient. Calculated aggression wins. And don't panic during the phase transitions. Alright, onto Area 5, City and Factory Extended. On to Stage 1, Extended City Combat. Area 5 is basically Area 1 on steroids. You're back in the city, but enemy counts are higher and they're extremely tough. But if you've been playing this whole SNES Mighty Morphin Power Rangers walkthrough, take a breath and refocus your fundamentals. Walk right and 2 weak putties appear. Hit one of them each. Then 3 waves of putties. First 2 waves are weak. The third wave is purple and tough. Jump over one, flank them, and attack both simultaneously. Throw them at each other. You know the drill by now. This pattern repeats several times. Weak putties, then strong. Weak, then strong. The game's testing endurance and consistency. Then green putties join in. Throw them at each other, corner them, and eliminate efficiently. Now the purple sword-wielding putties appear. These are the toughest standard enemies. Do not get surrounded. Jump to create one-sided engagements. Use jump kicks and low kicks in combination. Mix up your attacks. Grab the health kit from the crate because this pattern continues. Weak and strong putties in waves. The game is deliberately repetitive here, so create a war of attrition. Stay focused, maintain good positioning, and don't get careless. Okay, let's talk about publisher mysteries. The Sega versions listed Banpresto for their cartridge production, but this was actually a pseudonym for which company? Can you guess it? Eventually, the boss cutscene triggers. You morph, fight more putties, then transition to the next area. On to stage 2. Factory Descent. You're in a factory now, walking down the industrial stairs. Take out the lone putty, then go down where 2 more await. Remember the barrels? Jump over them. 2 putty waves while dodging barrels becomes the pattern. Now down more stairs. The same enemies, the same barrels, but now green putties join. Your crowd control skills are being tested. Position, attack, throw, repeat. Further down, more barrels contain putties. You can actually throw the barrel at them for damage. Two more putties pop out, more waves to follow. Use the barrels as weapons. Between 2 barrels, the weak putties will emerge. Throw both barrels, 1 at each, then handle the reinforcements. The game's giving you tools, so use them. A laser device returns. Fight putties while avoiding lasers. You've done this before. Up the stairs and repeat, plus putties. Careful positioning required. Going up the flight of stairs, you'll encounter gunmen shooting down at you. Jump kick them, grab the health kit between floors, then continue upward. At the top, 2 waves of 2 putties each. Clear them and head east. On to stage 3, the computer lab finale. You're in a computer lab now, and this is a tricky situation. A spinning laser device in the center while multiple putties attack. There's no elegant strategy here. You just want to stick and move. Attack when safe, dodge when not. Keep moving and don't get cornered. It's pure survival. In the next room, large laser device plus putties. Destroy the laser first, it's the bigger threat. Then handle the putties, break the door and repeat the process. And now onto another spinning laser room with putties. It's the same chaos, the same stick and move strategy. This is testing your ability to manage multiple threats simultaneously under pressure. Now here's the elevator section. Stand in the middle to make it rise. At the top, jump to the right ledge and run. A laser is firing from the left at interval. Use the alcoves in the wall. Duck in when the laser sweeps. Advance when it's clear. The putties complicate this. Kill them fast while managing laser timing. Your goal is to reach the laser and destroy it. Duck in alcoves. Let the laser hit putties while you're safe. Then attack the laser device between sweeps. Break it and enter the boss chamber. Now Sega went in a completely different direction. Published by Sega themselves, with publication by Banpresto, which was actually really Bandai, industry secrets, the Genesis version said, forget beat-em-ups, and went to full one-on-one fighting game style. You had your scenario mode. Fight a regular sized monster as a ranger, then battle the giant version afterward. It's like they compressed two genres into one cartridge. And here's the kicker. The Green Ranger was only playable in Sega versions. The Genesis and Game Gear kids got Tommy, while Nintendo players were stuck with the original vibe. Console wars got real when your version had exclusive rangers. Boss 5, Goldar. Goldar is surprisingly easier than the previous boss, but don't get cocky. Here's what you'll want to do. Hit him repeatedly until he teleports. When he reappears, you'll want to repeat the process. He throws bombs. They're extremely easy to dodge while moving. His samurai slash attack. Jump back when he winds up. Make sure to keep the pressure between his teleports. It's a straightforward pattern-based fight. Consistency wins over complexity here, so don't get cocky. So here's what made all these Power Rangers games special. It wasn't that they were perfect. The reviews were mixed. The difficulty was all over the place, and GamePro straight up didn't like some of them. But they represented something bigger, a moment when a cultural phenomenon was so massive that 5 different development teams across multiple continents were simultaneously creating unique experiences for it. Each version played to its console's strengths. The SNES got the polished beat-em-up, the Genesis got the fighting game, the Game Boy got the portable adventure, the Game Gear got the feature-rich handheld experience, and every kid who played them felt like they were part of the team. That's what we remember, not the review scores, but the feeling of finally unlocking the Green Ranger, the pride of beating that mighty tough difficulty, the joy of link cable battles with your best friend. It's Morphin time, and it always will be. Alright, now on to Area 6, the Megazord battle. Those were the times when portable gaming meant squinting at a green screen in the backseat of your parents' car, trying to catch the street lights for visibility. The Game Boy version simplified everything down to 5 levels, but here's the clever part. Each level had 2 segments. First, you'd brawl through putties as one of the 5 original Rangers, then you'd hit select and boom, you could use their unique weapon. The catch? It drained your health. Risk versus reward, baby. Then came the second segment, a full Megazord battle against the episode's big bad. On that tiny Game Boy screen, they made you feel like you were controlling a giant robot. That's craft right there. And if you had the Super Game Boy adapter, oh man, you could play with unique color palettes for each Ranger. Those were the days when color on your Game Boy games was a luxury worth bragging about at school. This isn't a traditional level, it's a one-on-one Zord battle. You're controlling the Megazord now, and it plays like a simplified fighter. You'll want to corner your opponent and keep attacking. He'll break free periodically, so re-corner him. Build your power meter by dealing damage. When the meter is full, get close and press X for a devastating attack. The special attack can end the fight. Maintain aggression. Don't give him space. This is a brawl, not a technical fight. Alright, now on to the final boss, the 2-phase fight. On to phase 1. The final battle is a 2-phase Zord fight. The first phase follows the same strategy as Area 6. Use the same cornering strategy from Area 6. Build constant pressure and attacks. You'll want to build your power meter, then use your special with X when full. Stay close, don't let him crave distance. He breaks free occasionally. You'll want to adapt and re-corner him. Your power meter management is key. Alright, now on to phase 2. But the Megazord's finisher fails. Your opponent transforms into a white fighting machine. Now here's where things get serious. The boss shoots fireballs. You'll have to dodge by jumping. When the green laser attack hits, you'll want to move to avoid. You have to use your sword slashes when close. He throws bombs, just jump over them. You still want to practice that cornering strategy. It works even now. Build your power meter and use the special when you're close. You must be very close for the special to connect. Stay aggressive, but dodge the projectiles between rushes. This is a war of attrition, don't get impatient. And that's it, the final boss fails. Angel Grove is saved, and you've just beaten one of the SNES's most underrated beat-em-ups. Congratulations, Power Ranger. So there you have it, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from start to finish. We've covered every level, every boss pattern, every strategy you need to master this game. What makes this game special isn't any one element, it's how everything comes together. The tight controls, the variety in level design, the dual gameplay styles with the Rangers and the Zords, the environmental hazards that actually mattered. It's a licensed game that actually respected its source material and delivered a solid brawler experience. Is it perfect? No. The difficulty spikes are real. Some sections drag on, and if you're not into repetitive brawlers, this one won't convert you. But for what it is, a mid-90s licensed beat-em-up, it's genuinely good and deserves more recognition than it gets. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, we've got plenty more underappreciated retro gems lined up. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like if this has helped you out, and let me know in the comments what other forgotten SNES games you'd want to see covered. Remember, not every great game gets the recognition it deserves. Sometimes the best experiences are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to give them a second look. Until next time, keep playing, keep exploring, and keep discovering while retro gaming still matters. This has been the complete Mighty Morphin Power Rangers walkthrough. May the power protect you.